Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. This is what comes to my mind when I see these reports. Because cities all over the United States keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. They spend more money on marketing, they spend more money on promotions, whatever they can do to try to lure us back. But one thing they're not doing is listening to their target market, which is us. So today, I'm going to show two reports, one from Seattle and one from Buffalo. The one from Buffalo, they don't mention Canada by name, but I'm sure as hell there's many Canadians in the past that used to visit Buffalo. And also, I want to show this funny video about ICE being in the airports. I'll show that at the very end. Alright, so let's get started with the first report out of Seattle.
Tourism and visitor spending in Seattle saw a drop last year, but city leaders are confident about a turnaround in 2026, especially with the FIFA World Cup right around the corner. Couples Jackie Kent live for us this evening in Belltown with the data and how the city is working to bring more visitors in beyond the World Cup. Jackie?
Yeah, well, today Visit Seattle is reporting there are multiple reasons for that dip. Things like tariffs and political tensions keeping international visitors away, inflation and other factors. But we are learning local and state leaders are confident there will be a big change coming this summer.
So we all know what they're banking on in the summer, and that's the World Cup. But what they continue to omit or overlook or ignore is the fact that we already know that Europeans, the amount of flights coming in this summer is already down compared to last year. And if you're planning to go to the US for the World Cup, you probably would have booked your flight, your hotel, and tickets and whatever else early. But the problem is that data right there is already showing that there's a drop. If I was a tourism official, I would actually be worried, not telling everybody that we're going to have a great summer. But then again, that wouldn't fit into the propaganda that the United States is the best country in the world. Seems like the co-host is already fired up on this one.
Governor Bob Ferguson signed a bill into law, bolstering the state's tourism marketing budget up to $25 million a year.
It's really about creating a sustainable funding source that benefits tourism marketing all across Washington state.
In 2025, we launched a new brand campaign called Mother Nature City.
This comes as Visit Seattle at its annual meeting showcased its promotional work after announcing a decline in tourism and visitor spending last year.
We did see a drop in Canadian visitors and a little bit of a drop in international, but that's only 6% of our total visitation. So we also saw macroeconomic factors affecting convention attendance or the ability for people to travel.
Now, I did a report on Seattle last year. I think it was during the summer. And basically, this woman was saying the same thing, that international tourism, it was down a little bit. But back then, she was saying that domestic tourism is making up for most of it. But my question to this lady right now, like half a year later, if everything's going so well, why do you need to ask for $25 million from your state government? You see, the problem I have with this woman is that she's not even acknowledging how much Canadians and international tourists actually mean to Seattle. As someone who used to frequent it quite a bit, it's a bit of an insult that I spent so much money in your city. I'm talking like thousands over the years, only to be spoken about like we're not that big of a deal. Now, some people are going to say, well, GTL, why do you need the acknowledgement? It's not really about the acknowledgement. It's about whether or not they actually valued us. Did the Seattle Tourism Board, did they actually appreciate that we spent money at the Seattle Premium Outlet, Pike's Place Market, or went to a Mariners game and drank expensive watered-down beer, or restaurants or malls? Because after hearing what this woman said about international tourists and even Canadians, it makes me regret spending so much money there. This one kind of hits home for me because I used to frequent Seattle quite a bit. And I'm sure it's the same for all Canadians who used to visit other border towns like Buffalo or Detroit or any border town that we used to go to on the weekends. I don't know. This is just my opinion. I mean, it's just my own experience. But after hearing what she said, I just feel used. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with me on this.
There were nearly 40 million visitors to Seattle and King County, down nearly 1% from a year earlier. Tourist spending brought in nearly $9 billion, also a slight dip. The general manager of this travel lodge told Como News the loss of many Canadian guests was severe. This as the American Hotel and Lodging Association reports the city's hospitality market revenues were down nearly $45 million when compared to 2024.
The decline has been difficult and challenging for the industry because we're a central hub.
The CEO.
Okay, so earlier in this report, that woman was saying that we only account for what, 6% of 6% of tourism or something like that. But yet, the travel lodge manager that we just heard from said the drop in Canadians was severe and it's affected them greatly. So I have to ask, who do you believe? Sorry about that. The co-host is really fired up today for some reason. And if you're new to my channel and wondering about this cat, well, I could close the door and, she'll be scratching at the door and that'll sound worse than her actually meowing. So I just let her be.
CEO of Columbia Hospitality, which manages multiple Seattle properties like the State Hotel and Smith Tower, noted the expected boost in traffic from the FIFA World Cup this summer should be substantial.
And despite significant headwinds, both international and domestic, Seattle remains a place that people from all over the planet want to visit.
I don't know about you, but to me, that statement is just full of arrogance. People all over the planet. Yeah, maybe at one point they wanted to visit Seattle, but things have changed. And every time I hear something like that, it pushes me farther and farther away from ever wanting to go to Seattle again.
Visit Seattle is focused on marketing to international visitors.
We want them talking about Seattle and bringing their families back again and again.
And looking ahead to the World Cup, there are 17,000 hotel rooms in downtown Seattle. Visit Seattle anticipates we'll start to see those enhanced bookings once we get closer to play, specifically within that 60-day mark. That's based off of data from other countries that have also hosted.
Yeah, that might be data from the other countries, but the other countries don't have ICE, they don't have CBP being assholes, and they don't have an idiot for a president. You know, the president that's causing chaos all around the world, causing oil prices to go up, and an unnecessary war in the Middle East. None of us around the world, we never got a say in this, and we didn't get to vote for this either. But yet, we still have to suffer the consequences of your president. So your target market of the international tourists, I'm pretty sure a lot of them are not very happy with you right now, including me. Now, before I move on to the report on Buffalo, I would like to give a shout out to Avernar from our Discord server, and he posted this photo from a mysterious creek in Mississauga. He didn't tell the server exactly where in Mississauga. Maybe he wants to keep it a secret. But it's an amazing photo anyways. So thank you for posting this in our Discord server. And just a heads up again, I'm getting a flood of emails with everyone sending me their photos. In my last video, I think it was a couple of videos ago, I did mention that if you're posting a photo on the Hey Cafe page, unfortunately it's compressed. So I will try to see if I can get to everyone's photos, but obviously I'm not going to be able to. But I would still encourage everyone to share their photos on the Hey Cafe page to share it with the rest of the community. Okay, let's get started with a report from Buffalo, and it seems like their entertainment district is suffering.
Business owners and community leaders say this conversation is long overdue. They say more funding is needed to help make the neighborhood feel more welcoming.
Being at Shays is a lovely experience. Being an Irish classical theater, just beautiful to be there. But getting there can be a hassle. Parking down here can be not only a hassle, but it's expensive.
Theater critic and historian Anthony Chase says Buffalo's theater district never fully bounced back after the pandemic. He believes the city has a legacy to continue.
We are historically one of the most important entertainment cities in the country.
Now, I've never been to Buffalo, so I don't know anything about this theater district. But I'm looking at the map right now. I mean, it's just across the border from Fort Erie, is it? No, wait, Fort Erie is a street. Regardless, the Peace Bridge is right there. But regardless of that, I mean, it's closer to get to Buffalo than it would for me to go to Seattle. But given its proximity to the border, I would have to assume and imagine that there'd be a lot of Canadians visiting the theater district, just because it's so close. So maybe my viewers in Ontario can help fill me in on this, because I really don't know. Did there used to be a lot of Canadians that would visit the theater district? Or is this just another case of them overlooking one of the revenue streams?
From vaudeville, burlesque, the touring shows, everything would come through Buffalo. This stretch of downtown would be bustling.
Another stakeholder, Mark Supples, is the owner of International House on Main Street. He believes public funding is needed to enhance Buffalo's theater district.
The government can't force people to come down here, but they can certainly make it more attractive for people to come down here. And then private businesses like myself and Town Ballroom and Bijou and the new movie theater that's moving in, if it's an attractive, safe place, we'll do the hard work.
Okay, now I kind of recall doing a previous report on Buffalo, and I remember looking at that bar. And I do recall they were complaining about the lack of Canadians coming to visit them. So I think it might be safe to say that, yeah, Canadians did contribute to their economy.
Several stakeholders say when Western New Yorkers attend a show at Shays, they often don't stick around. Supples says he believes small changes would make a big difference to visitors.
There's 22 streetlights on Main Street. 11 of them have been out for over 4.5 years. And I've called everyone. Everybody claims it's not my job. If you can't get the streetlights to work, how do you expect to accomplish anything else?
Well, to be honest, I think streetlights are the least of your concerns. Because you have an idiot in the White House and the 77 million that actually put him there. That is probably your main problem right now versus the streetlights. But in terms of getting anybody to your city, you guys should probably fix the TSA problem first. But I'm starting to realize that a lot of the reports that are coming out these days, they're not blaming Canada anymore. They're choosing to blame anything and everything else. But the fact that there's no mention about how much Canadians and international tourists actually contribute to them, or they kind of downplay it to say, oh, we're only a small amount, it kind of tells me that we were never valued as people or visitors, and that we were just really just purchase receipts for them. So moving forward, at least for me, I'm never going to be a purchase receipt for them again. Now moving on to the TSA topic, I want to show a funny video that I saw on social media, and it kind of shows what the ICE agents are actually doing right now. And let's just play it.
So I'm at JFK Airport, where today ICE agents were sent in to help with the long TSA lines because TSA workers aren't being paid. And this is what they're doing. Absolutely fucking nothing. While this
Now let's be real here. Did anybody actually think ICE was going to do anything at the airports? I don't think so. But what really irked me in that video is that one TSA agent not getting paid, basically taking care of the whole line, while all of those other clowns and the ICE agent, the brown uniforms or whatever, are standing around doing nothing. I don't know. The country's backwards, if you ask me. And, I feel sorry for the citizens that are trying to fight against this. But you have a long ways to go. But at least for me, and I think I speak for a few of you, it's going to be a while before we ever go back to the United States. Okay, that's all I got for today's video. If you found any value or agree with anything I said in this video, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international perspective, without the US media bias, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. That way you're notified of my future videos. And if you want to see more of my videos, wait for the ones that will show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.